Thank you all for taking your seats. My name is Ladaris Cordell. Thank you all. I am a former judge, former vice provost, former police auditor, and since 2015, formally retired. Yes, yes. Also in 2015, that year was memorable for me because that was the year I was a recipient of PACT's Community Builder Award, for which I am greatly appreciative. So I am delighted to welcome all of you to PACT's 2019 Leadership Luncheon and to guide us through this afternoon's program. So today we honor extraordinary individuals who, in their own unique ways, have been instrumental in community building in Silicon Valley. Today we also celebrate PACT's grassroots community leaders who work tirelessly in our communities to solve our most pervasive social problems. So let us begin. She once said, "My story is a freedom song of struggle." Those were the words of Caretha Scott King. And who better to inspire all of us with song than the Resistance Chorus, led by David Creighton.
Thank you. The chorus is gathering. They're about as organized as they get. I wanted to talk to you about what we do and what you do and how it connects. It turns out that takes more time than we have. So we're going to go straight to the music. The song we brought with you for you today was written just a couple of years ago by a local woman, Melanie DeMoore, who's an inspiration. She's a vocalist, choral director, and activist. And she wrote this after the election when she was considering how to best respond to her feelings. It has two thoughts in it that she came up with afterwards. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. And I think that's a good prescription for all of us, including your organization, which is out on the front lines making change. The persistence of putting one foot in front of the other and the spirit of leading with love. Now, protest singing, which is what we do, is not a performance. It's a participatory event. We have a chorus today of 500 people. 15 of them are up here. The others are down there. So I'm afraid you're going to have to put your forks down, stand up, and show us your spirit. We're all singing together. We're not singing at you. Please join us. Your salads will still be there. If you are serving, nobody's eating, so you can stop and sing too. You're part of this. Here's the melody that Melody wrote to go with the words. If I can get this thing on. There we go. I'll use this mic for now. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You're gonna sing with me now. We'll just do it a bunch of times until you get it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Oh, come on! Hey, no. You stopped and they weren't there. I want to hear you guys. Here we go. This is participatory. You don't have to have a voice for this. You have to have heart. Let's all be engaged. 1, 2, 3. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other. I don't see all your mouths moving. In love, put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put love. We're taking roll. And lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Okay, that's all you get, except that's not all there is to the song. We could have brought a traditional song everybody knows. It would have gone faster. But this is more fun, and it lets you show us your stuff. The other part goes like this. That's a starting note, and it starts down there. It goes 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. Lead with love. Everybody, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. Lead with love. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot. 1 foot, 1 foot, lead with love. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, lead with love. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, lead with love. If you think you're free because you're in the back, we'll find you. Okay, you guys are good at getting out in the community, making change happen. That takes energy, it takes commitment, it takes setting aside some of yourself. And we want to see that here today, right now, because there's a third part you need to learn. Here it is. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, lead with love. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, lead with love. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, lead with love. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in front of the other one. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, lead with love. There we go. If you want dessert, we're going to sing all three parts together. You're going to sing all three parts together. This middle section, these 2 rows of tables here all the way back. You're 2 on this aisle, 2 on this aisle, all the way back. You're singing that first part, the melody. You got to put 1 foot in front of the other, the first thing. If you're over here, a couple of rows all the way back, and maybe this table here, they need help. This table here. You're doing the low 1 foot. 1 foot, 1 foot. Tables over there, 2 rows all the way back. And the third table, you do 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. Now, do you know the verses? The answer is no, you don't know the verses. It's a wonderful thing in protest singing. It's a call and response. You'll get the verses right before you need them. Right before you need them. So I'm going to sing, "Don't Give Up Hope," and you're going to sing, "You're Not Alone. Don't you give up. Keep moving on." And then we go back into the, you got to put 1, and we go around. All right, you ready? You get 1 shot at it, 1 shot only. They're recording live. It's on YouTube already. Here's how we're going to do it. This is great when it works. Please make it work. I'm counting on you. I can't do it myself. We're going to start the whole room. You got to put 1 foot, with that we learned first. 1 time through that. Second time through, we're going to peel off these folks. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. Third time through, we're going to peel off these folks. 1 foot, what? And then you'll all be doing it. 3 parts. And we'll go around a couple times until we're in the groove. Let's get in the groove, because they want this program to go on. So let's get in the groove, get all singing, get it going, clap if you want, and then we'll do the verses. Are you ready? You 1, 2, 3. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other one. One foot, lead with love. One foot in front of the other one. One foot, lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other one. One foot, lead with love. One foot in front of the other one. One foot, lead with love. Don't give up hope.
Don't give up hope.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Don't you give up.
Don't you give up.
Keep moving on. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other. One foot in front. Lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. You gotta put one foot in front of the other one. One foot, lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other one. One foot, and lead with love. I know you're scared, and I'm scared too. But here I am, right next to you. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love again. And lead again. And lead with love. And one more time. And lead with love. Thank you for having us. Thank you for the work you do, making our community a better place. Thank you to the awardees.
The history of freedom is the history of resistance. Big thanks to the Resistance Chorus. Thank you all. So, after we sing, we reflect. It is my honor to introduce to you all to PACT's brand new 4-month-old Executive Director, Reverend Ray Montgomery, who will lead us in an opening reflection. Reverend Ray.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you believe that 4 months ago I had hair? Yeah. We are grateful to be here on this occasion. And this occasion is more about you. You are community. You are a reflection on what Santa Clara County can be. But before I go on, I just want to thank you for your time, your talent, and your treasures. You could have been anywhere today, but you chose to be here celebrating PACT and supporting PACT and supporting the work that we do. So I honor you and I celebrate you. In addition, I want to celebrate Tamara and Caretha and Ken. Something you don't know is that Caretha and Ken have adopted me. and now I'm a part of the family, and there's nothing you could do about it, Ken. Third, before I continue on, what makes organizing and building community happens is from a grassroots level. And it begins with organizers. Your support allows us to bring the best organizers in the county in the community. So I want to thank my lead organizer, Ruby. I don't know where Ruby is. Wave your hand, Ruby. Amen. And then also I want to thank Esmeralda. Where's Esme? She's somewhere. And Danny and Jesus. And the glue that keeps us all together is Mercy. She's the one that really runs the show, so we want to thank her. Hey, Mercy, there she is over in the corner. Okay. So this idea of belonging, love, leading with love, making sure that everyone is welcome to the table. And what proverbial table might you ask that may be? It's a table that is one of justice, equality, peace, where everyone who can dream has the ability to achieve what they want to achieve. You being here today says that you support the idea of belonging, that everyone is welcome to the table, that everyone does deserve the opportunity to life, happiness, family well-being, and et cetera, et cetera. So we do this through organizing. We do this through community. We do this through love. And we do it with your support. So I want to take the time to thank you for all that you do. And I want you to continue to spread the word that PACT is an organization that develops leaders. We don't teach people, we don't fish for people, we teach people how to fish. We don't tell people what to say, but we cultivate their own words within their own narrative and with their own dialect in ways that their community can understand and in ways that their community can change and grow and be a better part of Santa Clara County. So I just want to thank you all for your support. Keep dreaming. Keep sharing the story that everyone is welcome to this table, and keep sharing the story that everyone belongs. Enjoy this luncheon today.
Thank you, Reverend Ray, and welcome to PACT. Now, because most of us can do two things at once, we want you to eat and at the same time enjoy the exciting program we have for you today. So as you chew quietly, we'll proceed. Kaiser Permanente is a nonprofit group practice and a world leader in improving health through high-quality integrated healthcare. I should know I'm a member. And as importantly, Kaiser supports PACT. And how do we know this? Because Kaiser has donated to this event 4 San Jose Sharks club seat tickets, and as importantly, 2 parking passes for Wednesday, November 27th game at 7:30 p.m. versus the Winnipeg Jets at SAP Center. So, if you want a chance to win these tickets, all you have to do is put your business card in a glass container in the center of your table. And if you are retired, you can, well, what the hell, write your name and what you used to do on a napkin or something and drop that into the container too. So volunteers will come around during this program to collect the cards and napkins, and we'll see who the lucky winner is at the end of our luncheon. And now it's time to meet 2 extraordinary women who are the co-chairs of Friends of PACT, and they are Cindy Ruby and Vanada Kumar. Cindy has been co-chair of Friends of PACT, get this, for more than a decade. She was a longtime Saratoga School Board trustee, and she has served in countless leadership roles for educational and children's causes. And that, my friends, is a description of community commitment. Vandana has served with Friends of PACT for the past 5 years, and she is the publisher of India Currents magazine. Now, these 2 women, along with the Friends of PACT committee, they work all year to organize this luncheon. And why do they work so hard? Because the success of this event, the money we raise, and this is the only fundraising event for PACT, annual event, endures to make sure that PACT endures and it has the resources to sustain itself as it does its invaluable work in the community. So please welcome two best friends of PACT, Cindy and Vandana.
Thank you so much for being here today. Vandana and I are so delighted to see so many friends in the audience.
Planning this luncheon is a labor of love for everyone on the Friends of PACT committee, and we are so appreciative for the support of our sponsors that makes this happen. Please hold your applause for the end as we recognize them.
Honorary hosts, Susan Packard Orr and Lynn Orr. Platinum sponsor, Common Spirit.
Gold sponsors, Knight Foundation, Cindy and Alan Ruby, Skadden. VMC Foundation, and the Vormenhoven Family Foundation.
Silver sponsors, Carney Global Ventures, Assemblyman Kansan Chu, Cisco, Downtown College Prep, El Camino Health, First Five Santa Clara County.
Gardner Health, Google, Heritage Bank of Commerce, HP, McManus Faulkner, Karen Rudolph.
Santa Clara Family Health Plan, Silicon Valley Community Foundation, Stanford Healthcare, Stevenson Brashears, Marie and Carrie Young.
And many other supporters who've been listed in the printed program. Thank you all so much for your support in helping PACT make this happen. Let's give them all a round of applause.
We would also like to recognize the elected officials who have joined us today. We count on their leadership for public policies that respond to community needs and promote and protect justice.
The elected officials here today are Magdalena Carrasco, San Jose City Council member, Kansan Chu, Assemblyman, David Cohen, Berryessa School District Board member,
Carla Collins, San Jose Unified School District Board member, Dave Cortese, County Board of Supervisors, Patty Cortese, Eastside Union High School District Board member.
Neysa Flegor, Los Altos City Council member, Pam Foley, San Jose City Council member, Corina Herrera Lopez, Alum Rock Union School District Board member, Shelly Masur, Redwood City City Council member,
Sergio Jimenez, San Jose City Council member, Chappie Jones, Vice Mayor, City of San Jose, George Sanchez, Franklin McKinley School District Board member, Sylvia Reyes, San Jose City Council member, Carmen Montano, Vice Mayor Milpitas, and Jim Zito, Evergreen Elementary School District Board member.
Thank you all for being here today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the program.
Every outstanding organization has an outstanding board of directors, and PACT is no exception. So please welcome PACT's outstanding board co-chairs, Regina Alexander and Ernesto Perez.
All right. Hello. All right. Ernesto and I are happy to be here with all of you today, so thank you for being here with us. So PACT has lived up to the name of people acting in community together by empowering the people to lead, ensuring the voices of the directly impacted are heard, and putting our faith in action to ensure everyone knows they belong. Through organizing with our Faith in Action Network and allies across the state, we won AB 392, SB 1421, and AB 953, which hold officers accountable for excessive uses of force, allows for transparency with public access to police records, and decreases limited detentions due to racial and identity profiling. We also won AB 1481, Prop 1, and AB 291 to prevent egregious rent increases, establish more affordable housing, and prohibit landlords and attorneys from reporting tenants' immigration statuses as a means to intimidate and evict the innocent. In addition to changes of laws, we've influenced such policies as body-worn cameras to be worn by all police officers, and are a part of the Rapid Response Network to support our undocumented brothers and sisters. And though we've experienced many wins to create change, we continue to fight on, as we know the work is still not done.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ernesto Perez, and thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us and support us. Today, I want to emphasize my gratitude personally and on behalf of people acting in community together, because the current year, we overcome challenges, really big challenges. And reflecting on the need to act, coming to my mind are events such as controversies, attacks of racism, displacement, intolerance, and many faces on the injustice. We need to act without forgetting our principles. We have the obligations to act regardless of talent or resources. I want to share one of my mother teach me in political words. She told me this: dreams and nightmares are part of the reality. Thank you, all our partners, for supporting people acting in community together and all the work that you guys doing in our community. And I want to add it a little bit of the 15 seconds on my time, because we suffer a lot with a lot of shootings. Please, everyone, if you can make a space, 15 seconds, for the victims on shootings around our country, because this is our country. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your meal.
Okay, now let's talk PACT. So I'm going to describe briefly what PACT does, but I want you to think a minute about what this community would look like if there were no PACT. Think of all the accomplishments because of the work of PACT and just erase them. That just alone tells you how significant and important PACT is to this community. People acting in community together is a multi-faith, multi-racial, grassroots organization that empowers ordinary people to win extraordinary victories. PACT works with more than 30 member congregations and grassroots leaders from all the corners of Santa Clara County. And if you have ever seen PACT people in action, it's a sight to behold. PACT has found a way to ensure that the community's pain is heard. a way to research solutions to address that pain, and a way to hold key stakeholders accountable. PACT's mission is to assure that we live in a county and in a state and in a country where everyone has the confidence and the resources to fulfill their potential. Now you are going to hear from 3 extraordinary leaders who somehow find the time to organize and demand transparency from our law enforcement agencies, a just immigration system, and affordable housing for all. So please welcome Nguyễn, Ines Mendoza, and Sheila Dawkins.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you guys doing today? Thank you for let me share a little story of mine. My name is Nguyễn. I have been a leader in PACT for the past 2 years. I'm a son to I am a son of a mother, 80-year-old mother, a father of Tiffany and Vincent, and a wife to a teen lady. I have lived in San Jose for over 2 decades. I'm a member of St. Mary Catholic Church. I got involved with PACT when they support me and rally with me at the U.S. Citizen and Immigration Service building. I was approved for a family petition, which helped me establish in the United States status. Even though I was approved, UCIS demanded an interview, approval of my eligibility. We believe it was a tactic to detain me. Over 50 community members were there when I arrived. And we wait to start the rally. I received a phone call from my lawyer, and he said UCIS had canceled my interview. They made a mistake. We won that day. Through PACT, I learned about encountering and listening to people. I feel a part of our community, working together with those similar in my situation, and not feeling alone. My goal is to stay here with my family. My vision for the community is keeping all family together, not to be torn apart. We can do that. We can do that by bridging and bringing all community together. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Ines Mendoza. Soy un líder en la iglesia de Santa María en Gilroy. Tengo 27 años viviendo en este pueblito de Gilroy. Gilroy ha crecido mucho. Gilroy antes era un pueblito, ahora es mucho tráfico, más compañías como Walmart, Target, Starbucks. Está creciendo y no tenemos garantizado que habría suficiente vivienda para la gente que se mueve y vive allí.
Good afternoon. My name is Ines Vargas. I'm a leader with PACT at St. Mary's in Gilroy. I've lived in Gilroy for 27 years. Gilroy has grown. Before, it used to be a small town. Now, there's more traffic, more companies have moved in, Walmart, Target, Starbucks. It's growing, and we don't have guaranteed if there's enough housing for the people that live and are moving into Gilroy.
Cuando se desplomó la caída de los bancos, perdimos nuestra casa, mi esposo y yo. Estuve muy nerviosa, sin saber qué íbamos a hacer, a dónde íbamos a ir, con mi esposo y con nuestras 2 pequeñas. Yo rezaba mucho a Dios para que me diera la fuerza. Un inversionista compró mi casa y ahora me deja rentar. Me quedé con mi casa, pero ahora soy rentera. Mi cuñada y su familia viven con nosotros porque tuvieron problemas en San José. No soy la única viviendo esta crisis. Sacaron a una de mis amigas de su casa para remodelarla Cuando el dueño le dio de regreso la opción de regresar, le aumentaron $1,000 más.
When the banks crashed, we lost our home, and I was very nervous about what we would do. Where would I go with my daughters and my husband? I prayed to God to give us strength. An investor bought my home and has allowed me to live in it, but now, instead of owning my home, I am a renter. My sister-in-law and her family live with us because they had problems in San Jose, and I'm not the only one living through this crisis. A friend of mine was asked to leave her home so the owner could remodel the house. When the owner offered her to come back, he raised the rent $1,000.
En mi parroquia, por medio de PACT, estamos trabajando para buscar soluciones a esta crisis de vivienda. Hemos hablado con más de 500 personas y estamos investigando soluciones con aliados. Nuestra visión es que podamos responder a la necesidad y exijamos a los que tienen el poder económico y político que nos den justicia, que todos podemos tener techo y trabajo para vivir con dignidad. Gracias.
In my church and through PACT, we're working to find solutions for this housing crisis. We have talked to more than 500 people. We are searching for solutions with allies. My vision is that we respond to this need, that we demand those in power give us justice, so that all may have a roof over our heads, a job, and to live with dignity. Thank you.
Hi, I am Sheila Dawkins with PACT's Live Free, Beloved Community. I am a Jesus follower at NBCC Bay Area and Antioch Baptist Church. In 2015, there was a spike in Black and brown lives being killed in American streets by law enforcement. I sought to take action. PACT's Beloved Community held a dialogue with clergy, the mayor, city council, the police, and community members, and I participated. The multicultural, multi-faith organizers were on fire. They sought systematic change and to dismantle institutional oppression. Community dialogues are still vital today as we continue to lose precious lives in our streets. In San Jose last Thursday, Francis Ray had a mental health crisis and ended up in a fatal encounter with San Jose Police Department. He was precious to Jesus and his friend John, who said he had been depressed. Francis Ray had a history of mental illness and incidents with SJPD since 2016. Before Francis Ray, there was a Vietnamese mother and an African-American brother who was a young father. They both had mental health issues and faced fatal brushes with law enforcement. This is a moment to reflect on how we can rise up and co-create a new way forward on this issue, as 40% of officer-involved shootings involve severely mentally ill community members. We hope to add your genius and strategic insight to strategies forward as we move toward 2020. We look to assist young people in becoming leaders and organizers for social justice. We hope the multi-generational community also joins us as we rise up with La Raza, NAACP, the Black Kitchen Cabinet, Debug, and CARE. We are in a quest for police accountability and to dismantle racial injustice and call for justice for all. And in my faith tradition, Jesus says in Psalm 72, he calls us to rise up to defend the oppressed and those facing violence, to rise up to defend the poor and those who are unhoused. And he calls us to rise up in a spirit of love to transform all community and make them into one beloved community. Thank you.
Alice Walker, author of The Color Purple, writer and a poet, once said, "Activism is my rent for living on this planet. Duke, Ines, and Sheila, you are definitely paying your rent. Thank you. Chris Wilder is the executive director of the Valley Medical Center Foundation, and he has something very, very important to say. Chris, come talk to us.
Thank you, George Cordell. Hi, everyone. The three speakers that you just heard were inspiring, but I got to tell you, they also remind me that I'm angry, and I hope that you're angry too. You know, the Rapid Response Network, which has been operating since 2017, shouldn't exist. We shouldn't need it, but you bet we need it. You know how many families have been touched by the Rapid Response Network that PACT has led? 150 families have needed that. This is to say nothing of the families that have been torn apart by the racist policies of the administration that we are currently facing. So yeah, I'm mad. This is a network that PACT has launched that is being looked at nationally as a model. And we shouldn't have to have that. And many of you probably heard that today Trump offered us all a Christmas present. And frankly, I'd like to take it back to the store where he got it, because I know what that store is. That is a store based on racism. It's a store based on its division. It's a store based on white supremacy culture. And I've been coming to the PACT lunch for 16 years, and you know something? It used to feel a little bit different than it does for me right now. I feel like when we all stood and sung, we were resisting, and that's what we must do. We must resist, and we must stay together as this beloved community that I look out and see in front of me right now. And a great way to do that, unfortunately, is we've got to give our money, because money is what makes things happen for any organization. And PACT needs our dollars, and it needs them maybe now more than ever before. So I'm hoping that you all will find it in your hearts, in your souls, in your heads, and most importantly, in your pocketbooks, to give big and give now. There's a couple of ways to do that, okay? Now behind me there should be, I was told there was going to be behind me a little note that says how you can do it. The easiest way is by using your phone, and it's by texting PACT SJ, which is all one word, to the number on the screens. Oh, there they are, good. 243-725. That is a very easy way to give. The old-fashioned way to give is with the envelopes that are on each of your tables. You look in the middle of the tables, the envelopes are there, you can fill those out, and we'll have folks that'll be coming around to collect. Now, that's great and important, because if you fill out one of those envelopes, you're also going to be available, you will be, your envelope will be entered into a drawing where you can win some prizes at the end of the lunch. So that's exciting. But again, I want you to give not because there are prizes. I don't want you to give because maybe you were invited by someone else to this luncheon and you haven't actually paid, although guilt is a good motivator, so we'll go with that if you need it. But I really want you to give because we're facing things that we shouldn't have to face at this time in our country. And I didn't feel it at this lunch 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but I feel it now. And when I stood and I sung with all of you as we sung in the beginning of this lunch, I really did feel that this was protest music. And if you don't give generously right now, I swear I will make you all sing again. We gotta put one foot in front of the other. Come on and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other. I'll do this all day. No, seriously, give generously, give big. Give with your heart. If you have a number in mind of how much you'd like to give, please give a little more than that. And remember why you're doing it. You're doing it because we believe in the work of people acting in community together, and you all make that happen. Thank you for being what Martin Luther King called the beloved community. Thank you for being here today. Thank you so, so much.
PACT's leadership honorees for 2019, they're in the house. And now it is time to introduce them to you. First up are the Hackworth Leadership Award honorees, introduced by Deborah Engel. Now, Deborah is a community member. She should come on up now. She is on the board of Facing History and Ourselves and the Opportunity Fund. So Deborah Engel, you're on.
Before I start on my introduction of the Colemans, I have to say thank you, Chris, for making that ask. It's actually much harder to ask than to give. And I've been asked a few times by Chris Wilder, and he has never sold me down the river. It's all been for great causes, so dig deep. I am very, very proud to be here today to honor the contributions of Ken and Caretha Coleman and the vision for PACT, which I believe the Colemans truly embody. PACT dreams of a valley where all members of our diverse community are welcomed, respected, and where they are valued. This is the way Ken and Caretha live and breathe. This is who they are. PACT's vision could be their personal mission statement. Caretha and Ken's list of accomplishments are long, and a sampling of them are in your programs. But more than their many achievements, however, it's their secret sauce, the values they cherish, the strength of their characters, and the love in their hearts that I would hope in some small way you come to know, and that you will be inspired, as I have been, to engage more fully in our shared community and to become upstanders, as Ken and Caretha have chosen to be. Now I'm going to share with you just a few pieces of Coleman lore. Ken's grandfather was born into slavery. His mother was a maid, and his father was a factory worker. Caretha was born in Japan to an American serviceman whose truck broke down in front of her Japanese mother's parental home. Her Baptist father and her Buddhist mother then migrated to Massachusetts, where Caretha was raised as a Catholic, in part to attend parochial school. In the 70s, each of the Colemans found themselves in California post Ken's tour of duty in Vietnam as an Air Force captain, and Caretha's tour of duty at TWA in the days when airline stewardesses had to embody physical perfection. I love the story about Caretha being required to shave a half-inch off her hips just to secure the job. Never mind that she also had to be fluent in multiple languages and more. By the early 80s, both Caretha and Ken were already Silicon Valley success stories. Both had landed at HP and later moved on to various executive roles in tech companies at a time when it was very rare to see women or people in color in tech, let alone occupying one of the lofty positions. In '82, Caretha and Ken went looking to buy a house in Los Altos Hills, yet when they went to put in a bid, the listing agent tried to block the sale. The agent didn't think the neighborhood was ready for a black family. The Colemans found a way to buy the place anyway and chose to prove the agent wrong. They still reside in that home, befriending neighbors, raising 6 children, and becoming a well-known gathering place for all kinds of community functions. This early anecdote is so representative of who the Colemans are and who they choose to be, wherever they go and whatever they do. They choose not to respond to the neighborhood or the organization who may not have wanted them. They see places that just don't know them, and they become advocates for others that might find themselves in a similar situation. I recall getting to know Ken and Caretha in the 70s and 80s, slow to catch on that they were actually a couple. In those early days, I visited the companies where Ken and Caretha were on their respective executive teams, and I was struck by the complexions of their companies. By just walking the halls, you could see diversity, inclusion, and equity in practice. A corporation, a world where all, regardless of gender or color, could have the same opportunities, where the playing field was in the process of being leveled. Year after year, they've asked the tough questions, they've prodded for answers, they've chosen to be upstanders. In every company, on every board on which they have served, in the fundraising they have done, they have always lived these values. The Coleman community begins at home with beloved children, grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren. It expands in concentric circles to include a vast extended family that includes both those in the bloodline to all those that their lives have touched. I think there must be 50, 100, maybe more people in this audience today who've been advised, sponsored, or mentored by one of the Colemans. And there are many, many multiples of that number who aren't in this room. Women and people of color continue to get access to opportunities, positions, venture capital, and more because of the Coleman voice. And these people have become advocates and role models in their own right and carry on the Coleman legacy. Each and every day, we are one step closer to the world we seek, thanks to people like the Colemans, who have taken extraordinary action, choosing to join in community with others to create a better future. I want to go off script just for a last moment, because I want to personally thank Ken and Caretha, because they've helped me in so many ways, both professionally and personally. Thank you. As my granddaughter would say, with my whole heart. If you are inspired in any way by the Coleman story, perhaps you can see yourself in this story. It will truly honor Caretha and Ken and PACT if you choose to be a part of this world that we together can create. I cannot imagine better recipients for the Hackworth Leadership Award. And by your applause, please welcome Caretha and Ken to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here and giving of your time to share with us today. Thank you, Deborah. I mean, you know, it's so great when you get to have special moments to share with people that you care about and people that care about you. But Deborah and I go way back, and she has my heart every step of the way. But I also have LaDoris. And LaDoris, again, another wonderful friend to us and our family that we've known for a very long time. So I love you both dearly. I want to thank Vandana, for sure, those late night calls, early morning emails, and Reverend Ray and the PACT organization for the work that you do in our communities every day, as evidenced by some of the speakers. And I also definitely want to thank the staff for doing everything that you did to make today a reality. And I know it's been at least 7 months since you first honored us by letting us know that we were going to be bestowed with this special honor. I thought a lot about what I wanted to say today, you know, besides thank you. Thank you so very much for this honor and for allowing me to share it with one of my favorite people in the world, who also happens to be my husband, Ken. I really thought about what I wanted to talk about today, you know, because you know that there's that saying that goes, nothing haunts us like the things that we don't say when we have the opportunity. And so I want to talk to you about something that is very personal and deeply important to me. I vividly recalled recently being asked in an interview, have you ever struggled to find your voice? Have you ever struggled to find your voice? And I know I have some friends who'd probably be surprised at the answer, but my answer is definitely yes, I have. And because there are so many people here today who are special to me, including our family, our children, grandchildren, my siblings, my mother's here, my friends, supporters of PACT, ALF fellows, Common Spirit Health employees, the divas. I could go on and on and on. But what that means to me is that I know that I'm surrounded by friendlies. I trust that you share my values, our values. So it's not my intent to preach to the converted, but instead, I'm going to use my voice to ask for your help. You see, I love being a part of the San Francisco Bay Area. Silicon Valley is a very special place, and I chose to live here and to raise our family here. I chose that, and I feel privileged to have actively been a part of its history for the past 47 years. But in case you haven't heard, we have a problem. We have a problem with race. Part of the problem is that we don't want to admit or believe that we have a problem. And the other is that we don't like to talk about it. We never have. It's uncomfortable. I get it. It is uncomfortable, but necessary. And we don't have the skills to talk about it, but we can learn. We really can. Of course, I realize it's not just a problem here, but after all, this is where I live. And so, common wisdom says, you take care of things at home first. So this is where I want to concentrate that effort. I'm not talking about politics. I'm not talking about politics at all. I'm talking about people and the way we treat each other. I'm talking about respecting differences, even if we don't understand sometimes or agree. But let's try to understand. I'm talking about the right to a quality education, a safe place to live, the ability to work in a place that is inclusive and values your talent and contribution, regardless of the color of your skin. Silicon Valley is known for getting things done, after all, right? We get huge things done that are very important. We're the land of innovation. That's what we're known as. We invent things, change whole systems, save lives. In Silicon Valley, our diversity shouldn't be a problem. It's a gift that should be embraced, cultivated, and celebrated. It should be our superpower. And I know having the right people in the room, right, we hear this, having the right people in the room enriches the experience, the conversation, the solution. And of course, we all know that diversity is at its best when you can be authentic, bringing our whole selves into a room. But we need to move on to bigger and better ideas than just letting people in the room. What is that? Where's the conversation that inspires others to be a part of the solution? Isn't that, after all, our job, to inspire the next generation? How do we make tomorrow be better than today? In 1970, my father had a conversation with my then 16-year-old brother about policemen. If you ever get stopped, keep your eyes on the road, your hands on the wheel, and don't argue. Years later, we had the same conversation with our sons. And now, we're having the same conversation with our grandsons. Deborah already told you about 1982, the experience that we had when we went to buy our first home in Los Altos Hills. And right after we moved in, or shortly after that, I was driving through Stanford University campus, and I was stopped by a police officer because he didn't believe that I could own a Mercedes, and he questioned the validity of the address on my license. But then, about a year ago, really, only about a year ago, my driver, who happened to be black and came early to pick me up to go to the airport, was pulled over. He was pulled over because he was parked in front of my house. I'm sharing this because people don't think things like this happen to Ken and me, but they do. And there's only one reason, and it hurts. It's race. You don't have to be a bad person to be a part of the problem, and you don't have to be a hero to be a part of the solution. So I'm asking that we each do everything we can to educate ourselves and each other on the subject of race, the value of inclusivity, and the power of belonging. Because I believe we are so much better than this. We all have to be more deliberate in our thoughts, words, and actions. And if we are, I believe, and it has been proven, that we can be successful beyond measure. I can't ask you to be braver in addressing this issue without harnessing new courage myself. And so I plan to do that. And so I'm asking that each of you discover your place in race, and for some of you to say what people of color get persecuted for saying, because when you say it, it's heard differently. We all need to find our voices and use them. You know, one never knows where inspiration is going to come from, right? Can be in front of you the whole time. Ken and I have been traveling a lot over this past year, and as a result, I've seen a lot of movies on United Airlines. But as is usually the case, we hear things differently depending on what's going on in our lives at any given point in time. And I must have seen this one promo on United probably 20 times. I'm sure some of you have seen it too, but one day, in a moment, I took note of this same promo as the words really resonated with me and reminded me of what PACT stands for. And so I leave you with this. Wouldn't it be great if human beings were great at being human? And if all of mankind were made up of kind women and kind men? And wouldn't it be spectacular if the golden rule were golden to every person? And the good things we ever do is everything we can. Thank you so much.
Wow. Isn't she great? Man, this is a tough act to follow. Thank you all for being here today. And it's always challenging to follow my wife. But she talked about race. And if you give me a moment, I want to talk about women. And I don't want to focus on you women in the room that impacted the Valley so much. And I appreciate each of you very much. You know who you are. People like the Doors. When I think of the Doors, I think of courage. Or Deborah, I think about loyalty. Or Fran Cottasponti, I think about giving. Or Ann DeBus, I think about being a pioneer. Or Shirley Whiteley, loving, and I could go on and on and on. But I'm not even talking to my close friend Kelly Mahoney when I think about a great mother, or my oldest goddaughter, Liz McLean, who's down from Portland to attend this event, who's a wonderful mother. And all of those of you who I can't name or didn't name. But this award is not about me, and is dedicated to my wife, Caretha, and the women of the Coleman clan. Family women who supported and guided me throughout my life. Thought I would share with you some of these women. Katie Coleman, my mother, lived a life of grace and taught me to do the right thing and treat others with kindness. Caretha, you've heard from, my wife and soulmate, is my greatest critic, but my most ardent supporter, and reminds me, keep it real. Chizuko, my mother-in-law, who we finally know as Abachan, which is grandmother in Japanese. She came here to the U.S. as a young Japanese war bride almost 70 years ago and demonstrated how to overcome and challenge the fear of the unknown. Karen, as some of you know, our daughter who passed away 4 years ago, taught all of us who knew and loved her not to judge others. Clara, my sister, Kristen, my daughter, both educators, who believe passionately that all children can learn, and I marvel at the impact that they have on little children. Peggy, my sister who lives in Illinois, taught me to be true to you, who you are, and don't take yourself too seriously. Caretha, my firstborn, and the leader of my personal fan club, has given me true unconditional love. Let me get back to Katie, my mother. Servant leader, pay it forward, give back. She didn't use these terms, may not even understand quite what they mean, but she taught me the values of family and community. These are values that Caretha and I shared when I first met her more than 40 years ago. PACT is committed to community. Caretha and I value PACT, value community. Thank you all for this wonderful award. Caretha and I are honored. Thank you.
Next up is PACT's Community Builder Honoree. Camille Yanes Fontanilla, Executive Director of the wonderful Somos Mayfair, will make that presentation. Please welcome Camille.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Camille Yanes Fontanilla, and I'm the Executive Director of Somos Mayfair. I'm delighted to be here this afternoon to celebrate the important work of one of our strongest allies in the movement, people acting in community together, and to introduce one of our esteemed honorees, Tamara Mosawani Alvarado, who embodies the values of PACT in her actions, in her words, and in her commitment to this community. I am grateful to call Tamara my colleague, my friend, and my sister. Surprisingly, we've only known each other and done work together for about 5 years, but the depth of our friendship, the connections between our children and our families, and the support of one another make it feel like we've been friends for a lifetime. When I became a first-time ED, not many people wanted to support an emerging leader in this community, but Tamara opened her doors, showed me the ropes, and gave me support all along the way. Tamara Mosawani Alvarado was born in East LA and raised in Escondido, California, and came to the Bay Area to attend Stanford University, unfortunately, earning a bachelor's degree in Spanish literature. We do that all the time. I went to Cal. It's our joke. Over the last 20 years, she has called San Jose her home and is raising 4 beautiful children and continues to build a life rooted in community alongside her husband, Pedro Akiwa Perez. Fittingly, Tamara's Machica name is Mosawani, which means merits her accomplishments. And throughout her professional career, she has a breadth of experiences and leadership roles that have impacted the lives of children, family, artists, whole communities, meriting her accomplishments along the way. Tamara leads the Leo M. Shortino Foundation, and while she's new to the world of philanthropy, during her short tenure thus far, she has deepened relationships with grantees, offers deeply rooted community perspective to the philanthropic field, which is often a voice missing at the table, and has most importantly started the critical work of connecting equity to the foundation's grant making. Before becoming the executive director of the Shortino Foundation, Tamara served as the executive director for the School of Arts and Culture at the Mexican Heritage Plaza in East San Jose. when it started in 2011. And during Tamara's leadership, the school and the Mexican Heritage Plaza earned a positive reputation for their commitment to East San Jose communities and an excellence in their programming. And in this role, she helped co-found the Si Se Puede Collective, our collective impact model in Mayfair, and was an on-the-verge coach, helping to build a pipeline of emerging leaders in the nonprofit sector. And prior to her service at the school, Tamara was the director of the Multicultural Arts Leadership Institute for First Act Silicon Valley before it became a program of the School of Arts, and also the executive director of MACLA, Movimiento de Arte y Cultura Latinoamericana in San Jose. Tamara was also a director at the Washington Youth Center. I know there's some folks from back in the day here. where she was cutting her teeth in community service and neighborhood building. She has formerly served on the board of ACE Charter Schools for over 8 years, and she now chairs the board of the Western Arts Federation. However, it is beyond these professional roles that I have witnessed the authentic, personal, and deep connections Tamara brings to all the people in our community. She has a way of seeing people for who they are, for honoring them. She brings humor and grace and a no-nonsense attitude into the room. And as a danzanta for 20 years and now a firekeeper with Calpulito Noleque, she has led ritual and held space for families and communities to heal, to remember, and to celebrate. She has walked alongside our youth and our parents marching for justice, educational opportunities, and immigrant rights. And time again, she shows up. She's not afraid. She uses her voice at City Hall, in county chambers, to demand systemic change. It is all these actions that make Tamara a powerful leader, a fierce woman of color, and a community hero who deserves to be honored and celebrated today. Please join me in honoring the one and only Tamara Mosavani Alvarado.
Okay, all right, well, first of all, thank you, Camille, thank you, my sister, for showing me a true act of generosity in 2014 or 15, when you could have chosen somebody else to go to the On the Verge program, but you chose me, and our friend, now sister, Anya Artigas from Alum Rock Union School District. A little bit nervous. And I appreciate that because this is a leadership development program, free of charge, on the move, wonderful Napa-based nonprofit, and this is something that you would want for your own staff. But you reached out, you asked me, you called me, and you say, hey, do you want to go on this thing? It's a retreat every few months. And I didn't really know this girl from 2 blocks down the street. But I knew that she was a sister in the struggle, and that was good enough for me, and I'm glad I made a right choice. So thank you for being my sister. Okay, so there's like a timer here, but it's not on. So, okay. So we're gonna go gas, brake, dip, dip. Anyone? No? No hip hop heads? Okay, all right, that was for Coach Carter, but okay. So, all right. I do want to talk just a brief moment about this incredible collective that is the Si Se Puede Collective that includes Somos Mayfair, the School of Arts and Culture at MHP, led by Jessica Pacedillos, Amigos de Guadalupe, led by Maritza Maldonado, the Grail Family Services, led by Veronica Goey, and Vegilution, newly included Vegilution, led by Casey Hill. It continues to be one of the greatest works of art that I am so very proud of being just a part of. The Si Se Puede Collective, it's a story of women supporting women and women of color co-founding a collective to signal a new way of leadership for the east side of San Jose. Enough with the malarkey of the past, we said. That's true. There is space for all of us. I thank you, Camille, for taking a chance and modeling what it means to be generous, bold, and kind-hearted. And that's what my sisters in that collective are and what we have been doing. And let me tell you, forming a collective with hard-charging women of color is not easy. And it continues to be difficult, it is. But that's what this work is about, is to be able to disagree with each other and still move forward. Okay, so there's that. Here's a rundown of my remaining time. I'm going to give some thanks, then I'm going to give you some homework. There's going to be 3 pieces, and I'm going to close it out. Because we've all gone to these rubber chickens. I didn't get to taste the chicken yet, so I don't know. And we're also here to raise money. So if you don't want to listen to me because you're making another donation, go ahead. That's fine too. So if you feel moved, please get your pen and paper out or your note app on your phone and make notes, because I'm going to give you some homework. So here it is. Remember, there's going to be thanks, there's going to be 3 takeaways, and then we're going to close it out. All right, so I want to give thanks first to my mother, Hilda Canales Alvarado. She's not here, she's in Escondido, back home, because she's never that impressed with me. She's always like, keep it moving. She is an immigrant from the mountains of southern Jalisco. From the mountains, we're mountain people. With a 3rd grade education, she worked her whole life, cleaning, cooking, caring for the wealthy. My father, Manuel Alvarado, who became an ancestor 10 years ago, he was a professional trumpet player and a factory worker. I give them thanks for meeting in an East LA nightclub in 1971, led by Lalo Guerrero. And if you don't know who he is, look him up. That's the first piece of homework. Okay, that's a side piece of homework. So they fell in love. He was a professional trumpet player on a stage, and he saw my mom on the dance floor, and he went after her. And I'm glad, because I'm here now. I am the product of these 2 immigrants, displaced by poverty in Mexico, who came to the US with their skills, their talent, and their beliefs that in the United States, you can make a better life for yourself and your family, that you can reinvent yourself, you can play any music you want, you can express yourself completely and freely. That was the siren call of the United States. And for that and so much more, I am grateful. Gracias, mamá y papá. I am the product also of the local nonprofit sector. I give thanks to the Upward Bound programs of Stanford and San Jose State University, pre-college programs way back in the day, to the staff of the Washington United Youth Center, Youth Services Division of Catholic Charities. Catholic Charities gave a bunch of kids a 15,000 square foot facility. Isn't that right, Perla? And we were a bunch of kids. We were like 23 in charge of a real serious thing. Good thing was we didn't know that we were so young. I give thanks to MACLA. I give thanks to co-founder Dr. Maribel Alvarez, who's now in Tucson, and Angie Hellstrup Alvarez, who's here, and that board of 2003. I didn't know the first thing about being an executive director, but they knew that I had that hustle. They knew I was a young Latina, and they knew they had to walk the walk. I also want to give thanks to SV Creates, formerly known as First Act Silicon Valley, and to my nonprofit mom, Connie Martinez, she's out there somewhere, and my nonprofit uncles, Roy Hirabayashi and Raul Lozano. They may not like that I call them that, but that's what we do. We created the Multicultural Arts Leadership Institute, of which there are many grads here in the room. And we responded to the call of the community to transform the story of the Mexican Heritage Plaza from near loss to a new generation growing up with arts education and access to creative space as an everyday occurrence. That's what they're growing up with. I have had incredible mentors, some who I've already mentioned. Mentorship has been incredibly important to me, has been given to me, and I want to continue to give that back. People like Emiko Ono, Vanessa Shi, Miguel Salinas, Dimon Carter, Nancy Raggi, and Bill Moskin. Of course, my duality, who had to run off to an Aztec dance performance. But I told him that I'll give him this speech tomorrow night, which he's probably heard versions of this. But he teaches me how capitalism really works, and he pushes me to do better, and he is my biggest critic and my most ardent supporter. So that resonated with me. I also want to give thanks to my board and fellow staff at the Shortino Family Foundation. You hired a grantee to lead a philanthropic organization. You're ahead of the curve. You're doing great. I might give you all a heart attack next week at our board retreat. So, you know, we're all together, right? We're all in this together because we're going to be pushing on equity. And I give thanks to those nonprofit organizations that you heard about that gave me positions on their boards, like Downtown College Prep. Yeah, 6 years on that board, and ACE Charter Schools, and now chairing the Western State Arts Federation. But nowhere has my leadership been tested more than in my spiritual community with Calpuli Tonaleque Aztec Dance. It's not just a dance group, it's a way of life. It's a spiritual way of life. We are here to heal the traumas of the past. And I am in full gratitude to the ancestors who were killed in order for because these practices were illegal, but we're still here. We are still standing. So here comes the more homework pieces, okay? A topic that I'm reflecting on, and I'm so happy to hear the topics that have been reflected on here already, because I feel like we're canalizando, we say that in Spanish, canalizando, like we're channeling each other. Recently read an article titled, "What Does It Look Like to Support Women of Color to Lead?" It's in the Nonprofit Quarterly. If you're a nonprofit nerd like me, you can read that. And it highlighted the thoughts of a campaign manager, Wilnelia Rivera. She was a campaign manager for U.S. Representative Ayanna Pressley. And she says, when you build a team for her, it has to be based on her values. And you have to understand that she's more than just one person. This one person. She's the backbone of her family. She's the backbone of her community. You have to build a team that's going to be able to emotionally understand that they're not going to change a woman of color's loyalty to her family or her community. And further, because of the roles and lived experiences that she will have had, she's probably going to have some trauma. And I have never been, I thought, that's me. That's me. She further stated, let's deconstruct what we're asking of leaders. We need to create a culture where we're asking other people to step up. We can't build systems that ask women of color to do more with less. That's actually what we do every single time. We've always created change with less. And imagine what we could do if we were supported. Imagine. So it's time for each of you today to take stock of your situation. Ask yourself, am I led by a woman of color? Are you trying to place a woman of color in a leadership position? If yes, what are you taking off of that plate so that full potential, brilliance, and creativity of said woman is completely unleashed? So write that down, Nonprofit Quarterly, how to best support a woman of color in leadership. Or call me. Well, don't call me. Text me, email me, but don't call me. All right, next topic. All right. One of my two messages today is about white supremacy culture. And I know that those words are really difficult, but we've been hearing them today, and for that I am grateful that I'm not actually the first person up here to talk about it, and that I'm grateful that we have white allies that are talking about it, and that I'm only here to emphasize that we must normalize as much as possible these conversations about race and equity in every part of our lives. And do you know why I say this with full confidence? It's because I am Mexican. And because we are getting shot in Gilroy and El Paso, and a young man drove over 650 miles to come shoot us. And that is why I can say this with full confidence, that we have to normalize these conversations, and that no longer can any single one of us, from elected officials, you hear me, elected officials to community leaders, to arts leaders, nonprofit leaders, philanthropy, corporate, none of us can afford to say, I don't want to talk about that. I don't know how to talk about that. I'm afraid. Well, let's not talk about that. Because guess what? You didn't explain to your brown-skinned child at the candlelight vigil for Kayla Salazar at ACE Charter Empower Middle School why she died. You didn't explain that. And if you did, then you understand. And if you can't fathom that, then fathom it. Research it. Learn. White supremacy culture is a thing you can study. There's an article out that's fantastic. It's been out since 2001, and it still holds on, by Tema Okun. And you can look this up, or email me, call me, text me, all that stuff. Look it up, and you will see that what I am talking about has been talked about. And that, in fact, in this valley, there are parts of this valley that are talking about it, but there are parts that are not. At City Hall, there's an official program that's talking about race and equity, but I know that there's still fear. And I'm here with you. I stand with you, City Hall, to help. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in this field. I'm not an academic. But I know my lived experience. And I know that each one of us, people of color, we have a lived experience. And if you are not a person of color, you can educate yourself. You can ask questions. That's free. It's free knowledge. So I'm gonna close it out. because I can see my amazing executive assistant, Claudia Harvey, kind of giving me the look. Thank you, Claudia, for following me everywhere. So like I said, I'm not an expert, but I will not stand by and watch the country that my parents dreamed of back in Mexico and then helped build up. They helped build this place up. Spiral further down into a place of hatred and isolation. I will not. And I feel respaldada, I feel supported by an organization that's called People Acting in Community Together. I feel good to know that we have protectors here in this community and that I'm amongst you, that I'm amongst protectors. And so together we will help build a better set of neighborhoods and cities with children who can live without fear and be healthy and to fully express themselves. Thank you.
We have heard some preaching this afternoon, and you tell me, when is the last time you were at an event during the week at lunchtime where you heard so much substance, so much motivation, and so much inspiration? PACT. All right, as we close this afternoon, I just want to leave you with this thought. In my soon-to-be 70 years on this earth, I have earned the right to be a little jaded. There's the caging of immigrant children, voter suppression, the widening economic disparities between the haves and the have-nots, climate change, and the ever-present threat of world terrorism. How could I not be jaded when the world is such a mess? And yet, I am not. Why? Because of PACT, people acting in community together, and you, PACT supporters. Each and every one of you at PACT, connected to PACT, who support PACT, demonstrate by your good works, day in and day out, that there is reason to hope. Because of PACT, I am ever hopeful. PACT, you are the upstanders of the world, the people who stand up, speak up, lawyer up, sing up for justice. There are no bystanders at PACT. You won't find silence and indifference at PACT. What you will find, in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., are the tireless efforts and persistent hard work of dedicated individuals. And Dr. King went on to say in 1967, and without that hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the primitive forces of social stagnation. So we must help time. He said, we must realize that the time is always ripe to do right. So, be clear that the time to do right is always now. So I leave you with the inspiring words of another upstander and fighter for justice, and Maya Angelou. And she said, I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious, some thrive on comedy. Some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, and others claim they really lived the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse, bemuse, delight. Brown and pink and beige and purple, tan and blue and white. I've sailed upon the 7 seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world, not yet one common man. I know 10,000 women called Jane and Mary Jane, but I've not seen any two who really were the same. Mirror twins are different, although their features jibe. And lovers think quite different thoughts while lying side by side. We love and lose in China. We weep on England's moors and laugh and moan in Guinea and thrive on Spanish shores. We seek success in Finland and are born and die in Maine. In minor ways we differ. In major, we're the same. I note the obvious differences between each sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. Thank you, and see you in 2020 back here. Thank you.